All right. I'm still sick, but I got to make these videos. Let's make these videos.
Something that we
Why DJ Akademiks is getting canceled for going against Drake. Let's get it.
Now, in this time where Drake has done something that we have never seen in the course of hip-hop history, and everybody's been reacting to it, what's becoming more clear in this moment where Drake has done something absolutely unprecedented is that even when it comes to all of the stans and people who have strangely stayed loyal to him no matter what, now even some of Drake's biggest cheerleaders are starting to hop off this wave of just supporting everything he does regardless of how embarrassing it really is. And at the center of this is none other than DJ Akademiks. And now after Ak has been leaning further and further into echoing Drake's illusions and trying to uplift his image at the expense of everything, with Drake now trying to take a rap beef to a place that it has never been with his most recent action, Ak seemingly had a choice to make, which was to support the weakest move we've ever seen in hip-hop history and lose whatever credibility he had left, or speak his mind on this genre-altering matter and possibly risk ruining the odd dynamic he had with Drake, while also in the process making his fans, who are also Drake stans, livid that he is hopping off the Drake bandwagon. And now when it came to Ak making a decision, what he actually did has shocked a lot of people, including myself, as for the first time ever when the stakes have been this high, Ak spoke out about Drake and called him out for this ridiculous move he is trying to pull. But as Ak has now went against the guy and his fan base who has been supporting him more than any other group of people in rap has, when it comes to his career, things are starting to look almost as terrible for him as they are for Drake. Because after already being rejected from the rest of hip-hop, Ak is now being kicked out from the center of Team Drake. And now before we get...
Dang, so even the OV hoes is kicking out Akademiks? Damn.
any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now with this move from DJ Akademiks, it really seems like after the recent controversy where Drake made him lie, both of them got caught for doing so, and then Ak embarrassed himself and Drake even more by then trying to expose LeBron James, but then only ending up making Drake look worse than ever as a whole. Ak realized with one of the weirdest situations he has ever been in, that maybe he's going a little too far with this whole Drake thing, and that he should not be trying to defend another man's image as much as he is doing so, because with Ak's most recent stream where he went through this entire Drake lawsuit,
excuse me, I'm still sick.
He had some rare words for Drake that were critical, and in this time where Drake fans and OVO are all trying to push the same narratives to support and defend their guy in this chapter where he has done the weakest things and people are only turning on him more by the second, Ak went against what OVO was trying to do to help Drake by calling the suit ridiculous, and then he was so embarrassed by what he was reading and seemingly the fact that he has been defending this guy so hard that he just started laughing about some of the ridiculous reaches the suit was trying to make about what Not Like Us was trying to portray about Drake in the first place. And the best part about this is that Drake fans were yelling at Ak and telling him to stop laughing, as they have been trying to push...
Hey, Akademiks has realized, man, I can't do nothing to help this dude. Akademiks been trying so long to cape for Drake, but I think Ak has realized, man, once a lame, always a lame.
To everyone, including Ak, that they all need to be unified and defending Drake for everything in order to win against hip-hop and the industry and protect Drake's image. And again, just putting this entire fan base and community in place, Ak stopped this ridiculous way of thinking and acting, which is now making the entire OVO community have no sort of nuance or originality in their opinion. And as Ak continued to speak out against Drake, he went on to say that he isn't the one who is making Drake look bad at this point, because Drake fans who can't take any sort of accountability of reality think that Ak is the one making him look bad by speaking out against him and not Drake's own actions. And in a rare moment where Ak isn't doing everything to help Drake, he went on a whole tangent where he explained that he's done nothing to make Drake's image look worse, but it is the documents he is reading and the principle this is all setting on rap music as a whole. And the fact that now Ak is saying this and even recognizing that all of this is bad for hip-hop is just saying so much. And continuing on this tangent that may just cost Ak his career, he got so fed up with how embarrassing Drake has been as a whole that he just straight up said he needs to stop putting himself in the public eye and he needs to spend some time away from the limelight, and in addition, he needs to stop all the cringy antics and mirror selfies and needs to start presenting himself within a way that is actually respectable. And again, for Ak, who has been through so much for Drake, now stepping against him and just calling everything out for what it is, which of course with the reality we are all seeing is just absolutely ridiculous. Now that Ak has stepped out of his role, the OVO community is done with him and they feel so betrayed and angry towards the guy who has been leading the effort to protect Drake's public image all before this. And I mean, really, before we go any further into what this actually all means for Ak, the fact that Drake's fans and the people around him have reached a point where there is no room for discussion or to even hear someone's opinion out about how Drake is doing something wrong, I mean, in of itself, this explains why Drake's career is in the place it is in the first place and why his downfall keeps getting worse, because clearly no one is trying to offer him any other ideas that
Man, Drake need a whole new PR team. Who is advising Drake? Like, you can tell this is Drake doing this to himself, because there's no way that there's a team supervising him, allowing him to do this. You know, when you're in Drake's position, you know, nobody can really tell you nothing, right? So he gonna do what he want to do. And I can tell this is him just in his raw emotions, because none of this stuff makes sense. He needs a new PR team that needs to take control, because Drake is killing himself at this point.
May actually help him, and they are just echoing whatever sentiments he wants to push across, even if they are wrong or embarrassing to hip-hop culture as a whole, like with this entire situation Drake has created here. And with the fact that now DJ Akademiks, who has been clearly biased towards Drake, is at a point where he himself can no longer even stand with how out of touch Drake, OVO, and their entire community is, it's just very telling about Drake is spiraling, because for someone who has had the reputation and loyalty of Ak to now get off board and speak the way he did against him, it really should be the only sign you need to start rethinking your strategy. But now, while all of this is signaling that Drake has reached a point where he is done, for DJ Akademiks, the situation is really putting himself within a bad place, because due to the choices Ak made in 2024 all the way up to this point, which has involved him supporting Drake, and being the voice for whatever narratives he wanted to push across. As we have talked about before, Ak has tied his success and his fan base to Drake's closer than really anybody else has, and as the Drake community as a whole has lost any sense of nuance, Ak can't think differently from the rest of them, and this is why Drake stands all over are livid at him and seemingly rejecting whatever he has to say going forward. And now with Ak and Drake specifically, as Ak speaking out against Drake is coming off another bad moment between the two where Ak's top song of the year was Not Like Us, and he clearly didn't want Drake or any of his fans to know this. Ak now showing once again that he's not as loyal to Drake and OVO as they all thought he was is changing the dynamics on some way of how his entire corner of the hip-hop world is being represented. And in this OVO echo chamber where Drake fans are looking for someone to just support his delusion and the all-time low moments that we are witnessing right now. Because of these building moments where Ak has went against Drake, they have now kicked him out of their community and have appointed OVO Mal as the leader of Team Drake and hip-hop media going forward. And the fact that they are treating someone who really is more biased and emotional than even Ak and Mal as this heroic figure who is standing up for what needs to be said and who is way stronger than Ak ever was. I mean, this is just the most pathetic thing, and moments like these really show you how bad a fan base and community around an artist is doing in times like these, because as the fact that this is where we're at, where for Drake, Ak has hopped off supporting him at any chance he can get, and now they are letting someone like Mal, who has literally embarrassed himself time after time every single moment he is near a mic, as whether it's from when he said the Hard Part 6 is going to age and
Man, this dude is such a lame. Mal, whatever his name is. He a bigger OV hole than Akademiks is.
become one of the best diss records of all time, which we all saw where that went, or when his co-host Rory was trying to get him to admit that Drake does look bad for doing this, and Mal didn't just not say anything against Drake, but he actually supported him and thinks this is a noble and heroic move that a rapper can make. Mal is really another person who, just like Drake, has lost everything in this time where the stakes have never been higher, and if this is who they want to lead the OVO community, I mean, somehow in comparison, this makes having DJ Akademiks as your top guy look like an amazing choice in comparison. And so really at this point, where Drake's downfall is having so many other repercussions and effects, and now guys like DJ Akademiks are at a crossroads because he may have to do a complete rebrand if OVO turns against him, because in this time where no other hip-hop fans actually support this guy, because Ak has not just lost all his credibility being biased towards Drake, but with half the stuff he actually covers and with how he speaks about hip-hop as a whole, he really doesn't even like rap music like the rest of us. It's really going to be telling to see where Akademiks and Drake go from here, because while the OVO community is done with Ak for now as they are against him, having Mal try to make this effort from Drake look any better than it is will just not work whatsoever. And despite the fact that Drake and Ak clearly do have some hidden beef after all the moves they have made that have made one another look worse, this partnership they have had works for both of them, because Ak does help Drake's ideas circulate through the hip-hop world in a way that has been making some people on that side of things look at him a little different, and Drake does know this, as he wouldn't have continued to use him to support and project his ideas for so long if this wasn't true. So really going forward, while OVO is trying to kick Ak out, and if things get worse after Ak called out Drake, this may just end up becoming a reality, and Ak will have to rethink his entire career and approach. Going forward, it will be interesting to see if Drake talks to Ak about where he is at in this time, where he made the weakest move in the genre's history, and if Ak will change his mind and then try to start supporting Drake like he always does, but really as it stands. All it seems like we are going to see is Ak just continue to hold his ground against the most ridiculous and out-of-touch version we have ever seen of Drake, and if this is the case, then for both Drake and Ak, their careers in every sense of the word are about to change drastically, because Drake isn't just going to lose the last piece he had on the board in hip-hop in terms of having somebody who can actually make noise for him, but Ak is also going to lose the only people who are still remaining as fans for him as a whole. And really for Ak, is he is just so far gone from the rest of hip-hop culture that it's really too late for him to change his ways. If he is no longer going to support every one of Drake's actions, then who knows where his career is going to end up. Because while people will still hear and listen to what Ak says for a while, in this era where fan bases drive everything, without any sort of actual group supporting him, with Team Drake and OVO no longer by his side, Ak is really finally about to learn why he should have never supported Drake so much to the point where he tied the entire success of his career to his. And so now with all of this said, let me know.
You know what's kind of crazy? Even though we do see the turning of DJ Akademiks and Drake, their relationship is definitely not going to be the same after this. If Akademiks if he decides to do cold turkey and just want to flip on Drake and want to expose him, he'll still have the same viewership, and probably even more, if Akademiks decides to turn on Drake. So I think if anybody, Akademiks is in a safe space, and it's gonna look bad for Drake because obviously Akademiks has gained a fan base of being supportive of Drake, but at this time, if Akademiks decides to, flip flop and start to expose Drake and really give his honest opinion of what he thinks about Drake and his moves, people still gonna watch him. I think he may even get even more viewership. So y'all leave a comment down below, man. They said that the OVOs is trying to kick out DJ Akademiks, but something is definitely boiling up when it comes to Akademiks and Drake. I feel like shit. Hopefully I feel better tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow. Hopefully.